guests are making their way to Jnaneshwar Hall. Our esteemed guest, Padma Vibhushan, renowned scientist, Honorable Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar ji, and he is making his way towards the Jnaneshwar Hall along with all other dignitaries. A huge round of applause. With a huge round of applause, let us welcome Padma Vibhushan, renowned scientist, Honorable Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar sir ji. I kindly request sir to accept his chair. A huge round of applause, friends. Honorable dignitaries, distinguished guests, and esteemed MLAs and MLCs, on behalf of organizing committee, I, Neha Joshi, warmly welcome each and every one of you. The National Legislators Conference Bharat has organized the groundbreaking NLC Bharat Leadership Conclave of presiding officers and legislators from January 10th to 12th, 2024. This gathering brings together members of legislative assemblies and legislative councils for an unparalleled capacity building and enrichment program meticulously crafted by National Legislator Conference Bharat. The topic for this session is innovation, technology, and strengthening the fabric of democracy. Before we proceed further, we would like to felicitate our esteemed guest. Now I request Dheeraj Singh sir to kindly felicitate and welcome Padma Vibhushan, renowned scientist, Honorable Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar sir ji. A huge round of applause. Let us welcome our esteemed guest, Honorable Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar sir ji. Thank you. Now I request Shri Dheeraj Singh ji, Associate Dean, Department of Media and Communication, and Dada Saheb Phalke International School to address the gathering. But before I proceed further, I would like to mention that recently he has been awarded Salismania Book of the Year 2023 award for his book Master O, a sci-fi novel that delves into the future of mankind, its politics and life enabled through AI. So over to you, Shri Dheeraj Singh ji.
Thank you so much. माननीय विधायकगण, मंच पर विराजमान डॉक्टर मशेलकर जी, आज का जो विषय है इनोवेशंस टेक्नोलॉजी एंड हाउ इट हेल्प्स डेमोक्रेसी, एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण विषय है जिससे आज हम जूझ रहे हैं, क्योंकि एक बार फिर हम अपने इतिहास में एक ऐसी कगार पे आके खड़े हो गए हैं और इसका परिवेश मैं सेट करना चाहूँगा और आपको बताना चाहूँगा कि ये हमारे इतिहास में पहली बार ऐसा नहीं हुआ है। अगर 600 साल पूर्व हम जाते हैं, गुटेनबर्ग के समय में जब प्रिंटिंग प्रेस का आविष्कार हुआ था, और ये एक ऐसा इनोवेशन था जिसने पहली बार नॉलेज को, धार्मिक या सेक्युलर नॉलेज को पहली बार लोगों को अवेलेबल किया, जनमानस के सामने रखा, क्योंकि प्रिंटिंग प्रेस ने पहली बार बाइबल को, जो एक धार्मिक ग्रंथ था, लोगों के सामने रखा और लोग उसे अपने आप पढ़ने लगे। उससे पहले सिर्फ धर्मगुरुओं के पास ये शक्ति थी या राइट था कि वो उसका इंटरप्रिटेशन कर सके। इससे पहली बार हमारे इतिहास में जो नॉलेज है वो आम लोगों के साथ शेयर की जाने लगी और इससे मास लिटरेसी की एक लहर, एक वेव को हम देखते हैं अपनी टाइमलाइन में। प्रिंटिंग प्रेस के आने से एक और बड़ी चीज़ हुई जिसको हम रेफॉर्मेशन कहते हैं, या रूढ़िवाद सोच जो था उस समय चर्च का यूरोप में, उसको तोड़ने की प्रक्रिया शुरू हुई। लोगों ने अपने आप अपनी समझ बूझ के हिसाब से धार्मिक ग्रंथों को समझना, इंटरप्रेट करना शुरू किया, और ये शुरुआत थी एक नॉलेज रेवोल्यूशन की, जहां प्रिंटिंग प्रेस ने एक तरह की ज्ञान क्रांति को बढ़ावा दिया। और गुटेनबर्ग के समय में भी कई आशंकाएं थी लोगों के दिमाग में कि ये प्रिंटिंग प्रेस है जो समाज को उथल पुथल कर देगा। प्रिंटिंग प्रेस एक ऐसी चीज़ है, कई लोगों ने प्रिंटिंग प्रेस को एक डेविल, यानी एक बहुत ही इविल कैरेक्टर का भी की उपाधि दी कि ये प्रिंटिंग प्रेस समाज की जो नैतिक जड़ें हैं, समाज का जो संतुलन है, वो खराब कर देगा। इसीलिए इसको नॉलेज रेवोल्यूशन की परिभाषा दी जाती है। लेकिन हमने देखा प्रौद्योगिकी के बारे में जो आशंकाएं थीं, उनको समय ने दूर किया, और लोगों को समझ में आया कि प्रिंटिंग प्रेस से जो विचारधाराओं का आदान प्रदान होता है, वो कहीं ज़्यादा है, और जो अंधकार में लोग थे जिनके पास नॉलेज का अभाव था, वो इससे कितना फ़ायदा उन्होंने हासिल किया। जैसे जैसे समय के साथ प्रिंटिंग प्रेस ने लोगों को डिसीजन मेकिंग प्रोसेस में इंक्लूड किया, वैसे वैसे उनकी सामाजिक भागीदारी भी बढ़ी, डेमोक्रेसी में उनका सम्मिलित होना, डेमोक्रेसी में ट्रांसपेरेंसी आना शुरू हुआ। जो पूर्व में किंगडम्स थी या रजवाड़े थे, उनमें दरारें पड़ने लगीं, और लोगों ने ये मांग शुरू की कि हम भी डेमोक्रेटिकली अपना नेता चुनेंगे। ये एक ऐसा इनोवेशन था, द प्रिंटिंग प्रेस, जिसने हमारे इतिहास को सिरे से बदल दिया और डेमोक्रेसी की जड़ों को मजबूत किया। भारत, जैसा आप सब जानते हैं, विश्व का सबसे बड़ा लोकतंत्र है, और इसका आकार और प्रकार इस तरह का है जहां पर हम प्रौद्योगिकी, टेक्नोलॉजी, इनोवेशन को अपनाने से इनकार नहीं कर सकते। हमारी आज़ादी और हमारे गणतंत्र बनने के बाद प्रौद्योगिकी ने हमारी प्रणालियों और संस्थाओं को स्वतंत्र, निष्पक्ष और समावेशी बनाने में एक केंद्रीय भूमिका निभाई है। हम याद करना चाहेंगे माइक्रोफोन को, जिसका आविष्कार सबसे पहले ग्राहम बेल ने किया, और इस आविष्कार के बाद हमारे स्वतंत्रता संग्राम में माइक्रोफोन की एक बड़ी भूमिका रही है। जब नेताओं की आवाज़ दूर दूर, कोने कोने तक पहुंचाई जा सकी एक माइक्रोफोन के आविष्कार के द्वारा। गुटेनबर्ग की प्रेस में छपे अखबारों के साथ साथ माइक्रोफोन ने स्वतंत्रता आंदोलन को एक ऐसी ताकत बनाने में सक्षम किया जिसने ब्रिटिश साम्राज्य की नींव हिला दी। फिर आया रेडियो, जिसने लोगों के दिमाग पर ब्रिटेन की पकड़ को और कमज़ोर कर दिया। हम याद करते हैं नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस के सिंगापुर स्थित आज़ाद हिंद रेडियो को, जिसने एक बार फिर स्वतंत्रता और लोकतंत्र का संदेश को प्रसारित करके लोगों को एक नए इनोवेशन, एक नई टेक्नोलॉजी का उपयोग सिखाया। स्वतंत्रता के बाद 1950 के दशक में शुरुआत हुई दृश्य प्रसारण यानी विजुअल ब्रॉडकास्ट नेटवर्क की, जिसमें परीक्षण हुए, प्रयोग हुए, और 1965 के करीब आकाशवाणी, जिसको आज हम ऑल इंडिया रेडियो के नाम से जानते हैं, कुछ चुनिंदा शहरों में दैनिक कार्यक्रम प्रसारण करना शुरू किया। बाद में दूरदर्शन एक सार्वजनिक सेवा प्रसारण, पब्लिक ब्रॉडकास्टिंग सर्विस बन गया, और जिसका उद्देश्य था लोगों तक वो खबरें पहुंचाना, लोगों को सूचित करना कि सरकार की नीतियां क्या हैं, सरकार क्या कर रही है, क्या बदलाव लाना चाह रही है। 20 सूत्री कार्यक्रम जैसे जो चेंजेस थे, बदलाव सरकार के सामने थे, वो लोगों तक पहुंचाना, उसका काम शुरू हुआ। इकोनॉमिक लिबरलाइजेशन की जब हम बात करते हैं, आर्थिक उदारीकरण, जब एक ओपन स्काइज पॉलिसी हमारे बीच में लाई गई, जिसको हम खुले आसमान की नीति कहते हैं, जहाँ पे प्राइवेट टीवी चैनल्स को ये मौका मिला कि वो एक दूसरा पक्ष सामने रखें, एक सिर्फ सरकारी पक्ष नहीं, एक गैर सरकारी विकल्प लोगों के सामने आने लगा कि वो पढ़ें, देखें, सुने कि जो सरकार पक्ष रख रही है उसका एक दूसरा विकल्प भी है, एक दूसरा ऑल्टरनेटिव भी है, और लोगों के सामने ओपन स्काइज पॉलिसी या प्राइवेटाइजेशन ऑफ टीवी चैनल्स के जरिए ये खबर आने लगी। आज हम फिर एक ऐसे प्रौद्योगिकी के रेवोल्यूशन चौराहे पर हैं जहाँ पे एआई और एल्गोरिदम बेस्ड टेक्नोलॉजी का सामना हम फिर कर रहे हैं, और ये एक बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण क्षण है हमारे इतिहास में, हमारे नहीं बल्कि दुनिया भर के इतिहास में एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण क्षण है। इन बड़े बदलावों ने दिखाया है कि एक बार फिर वास्तविकता और कल्पना के बीच हम अपना रास्ता कैसे बनाएंगे, और आगे का समय आने वाले दिनों में हमें बताएगा कि ये जो फेक न्यूज़ का चलन है, डीप फेक आ गया है हमारे सामने, जब किसी की आवाज़, किसी के बोलने के तरीके या किसी की सूरत ज़रूर होती है लेकिन उसके पीछे एक एक्टर होता है, उसके पीछे टेक्नोलॉजी होती है। डीप फेक वीडियोस बनाए जाते हैं जब किसी की बातों को गलत तरह से प्रसारित किया जा सकता है। डेटा की चोरी, डेटा का दुरुपयोग भी हमारे समक्ष एक समस्या है, जिसकी शुरुआत हम करते हैं डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन ऑफ नॉलेज से, लेकिन आज हम एक कगार पे ऐसे पहुंचे हैं जहां पे उसी डेमोक्रेटाइजेशन का कहीं ना कहीं दुरुपयोग हो रहा है। तो आज हमारी एक बहुत बड़ी बहस का केंद्र ये बन गया है कि मतदान की प्रक्रिया को हम कैसे पारदर्शी और निष्पक्ष बनाएं। ईवीएम को लेकर विवाद उठ रहे हैं। हमें ये सोचना है कि जनमत को ईवीएम मैनिपुलेट कर रहा है, हेराफेरी कर रहा है, या उसको एक सक्षम रूप से लोगों की आवाज़ नेतृत्व के सामने रखने का एक जरिया है। कुछ ऐसे प्रश्न हैं जिन पर हम नागरिक के रूप में या आप कानून निर्माता के रूप में अधिक ध्यान केंद्रित करने की ज़रूरत है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ मैं मंच में आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगा श्री रघुनाथ माशेलकर जी को कि वो अपने विचार हमारे समक्ष रखें और आगे के सेशन को और बढ़ावा दें। थैंक यू।
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you very much for setting the tone of the session. And ladies and gentlemen, now the most awaited time of the session, that now we listen to our esteemed guest, Padma Vibhushan, renowned scientist, Honorable Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar ji. But before I invite him, I would request my technical team to relay a short film on life and work of Honorable Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar ji.
Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar is a renowned National Research Professor and was the longest serving Director General of Council of Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR. Dr. Mashelkar has made contributions in transport phenomena, particularly in thermodynamics of swelling, superswelling, and shrinking polymers, modeling of polymerization reactors, and engineering analysis of non-Newtonian flows. He was also chairman of National Innovation Foundation during 2000 to 2018. He was the president of Indian National Science Academy and also the president of Global Research Alliance. Dr. Mashelkar has many firsts to his credit. He was the first Indian to win the most prestigious TWAS Lenovo Science Prize, the highest science prize by the World Academy of Science. First Indian from India to be elected as Fellow of US National Academy of Inventors. First Asian scientist to win the Business Week USA Award of Stars of Asia at the hands of George Bush Sr., the former President of USA, and the first and only scientist to win the J.R.D. Tata Corporate Leadership Award so far. He is the only third Indian engineer to have elected as Fellow of Royal Society, seventh Indian scientist to have been elected as Foreign Fellow of US National Academy of Science, and seventh Indian to have been elected as Foreign Associate of American Academy of Arts and Science. Dr. Mashelkar has been on the board of directors of India's most reputed companies, which include Reliance Industries Limited, to Tata Motors, to Hindustan Lever Limited. He was a member of the Scientific Advisory Council to the Prime Minister, set up by successive governments for 30 years. The President of India honored Dr. Mashelkar with Padma Shri in 1991, with Padma Bhushan in 2000, and with Padma Vibhushan in 2014, three of the highest civilian honors in India. We warmly welcome Dr. Raghunath Mashelkar.
जोरदार तालियों से स्वागत करें माशेलकर सर का। उनकी कहानी साधारण से असाधारण की ओर है। माटी पुत्र की परिभाषा, जिनमें से अधिकांश हम लोग आते हैं, कैसे एक छोटे से गांव, गोवा के एक माशेल गांव से निकलकर पूरी दुनिया पे छा जाने वाला व्यक्तित्व आज आपके सामने उपस्थित है, जो लोकतंत्र और तकनीक के समन्वय पर आपके साथ एक संवाद करेगा। मैं एक बार फिर से राहुल कराट सर की ओर से और एनएलसी के पैट्रन्स की ओर से माशेलकर सर का स्वागत करता हूं और आप सबसे आग्रह करता हूं कि आज आपके जहन में जो भी प्रश्न होंगे कि गुड गवर्नेंस में तकनीक कितनी समावेशित हो सकती है, उसके लिए सबसे उपयुक्त व्यक्तित्व आपके सामने है। एक बार फिर से मैं सर से आग्रह करता हूं आप सबको संबोधन करने के लिए। सर, आदरणीय माशेलकर सर।
थैंक यू वेरी मच। फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, माय अपॉलॉजीज, आई एम जस्ट रिकवरिंग from a very bad throat infection, viral infection. But when Rahul asked me, and particularly this particular opportunity to talk to you, आप सबसे बात करने की ये मुझे बड़ी संधि है, तो मैं आया हूँ. So please forgive me for my voice. Innovation, technology, and strengthening the fabric of democracy. मैं इनोवेशन के बारे में ये कहूँगा कि जब अभी दिखाया JRD टाटा कॉर्पोरेट लीडरशिप अवार्ड जब मुझे मिला था, तो मैंने कहा था कि आई इन इंडिया मस्ट स्टैंड फॉर इनोवेशन, नॉट फॉर इनिबिशन, नॉट फॉर इमिटेशन. आई इन IIT मस्ट स्टैंड फॉर इनोवेशन, आई इन इंडस्ट्री मस्ट स्टैंड फॉर इनोवेशन, आई इन एवरी इंडिविजुअल मस्ट स्टैंड फॉर इनोवेशन. क्योंकि इनोवेशन का मतलब है बदलाव लाना. वी हैव टू चेंज विद टाइम्स. टेक्नोलॉजी, एज यू कैन सी, इट इज एडवांसिंग, जिसको हम अब एक्सपोनेंशियल टेक्नोलॉजी की बात कर रहे हैं. अभी मोबाइल टेक्नोलॉजी देखिए आप, कितना बदल आ गया है. उस दिन मैं मेरे दफ्तर में मैं जा रहा था, तो मैंने देखा कि एक महिला एक हाथ से रास्ता साफ कर रही थी और दूसरा हाथ से उनके हाथ में मोबाइल था. आप सोच सकते हैं 20 बरस पहले पॉसिबल था? नहीं था. तो ये जो बदलाव आ रहा है, उसमें से लोकतंत्र और तंत्रज्ञान, इन दोनों का मेल क्या होगा और तंत्रज्ञान का हमें फायदा क्या होगा, ये तो एक बात है, लेकिन नुकसान भी क्या होगा, ये दोनों बातें हमें देखनी चाहिए. तो उसके बारे में मैं बात करना चाहता हूं. मेरी उम्र अभी 82 है, 82. सो मैंने बहुत कुछ देखा है. सो 1984 की मैं बात करूंगा. राजीव गांधी अपने प्राइम मिनिस्टर थे और उनकी साइंटिफिक एडवाइजरी कमेटी थी. तब से मैं साइंटिफिक एडवाइजरी कमेटी टू द प्राइम मिनिस्टर का मेंबर रहा हूं. तो 1984 की एक बात करूंगा. उसके बाद में 20 बरस के बाद 2003 अटल जी की मैं बात करूंगा. और उसके बाद में 2023 अब भी दिसंबर में जो अपने चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया है चंद्रचूड़ साहब, उनके साथ बात हुई थी, उसकी बात करूंगा. क्योंकि वो ये तीनों जो ये है incidents or conversations, they're all related to democracy and technology. मुझे याद है 2003 में CSIR, काउंसिल ऑफ साइंटिफिक इंडस्ट्रियल रिसर्च जो है, जिसकी 40 प्रयोगशालाएं हैं, जैसे कि नेशनल केमिकल लेबॉर्ट्री हो, नेशनल फिजिकल लेबॉर्ट्री हो, उसका मैं डायरेक्टर जनरल रहा हूँ। और हमारी 2003 में 60 बरस पूरे हो रहे थे। तो हमने सोचा कि अभी एक तो कार्यक्रम था विज्ञान भवन में, तो अटल जी आने वाले थे, पंतप्रधान थे उस वक्त। तो हमने कहा कि इसकी जो एडवर्टीजमेंट है न्यूज़पेपर में वो क्या करें। तो मैंने सहकारियों से पूछा, तो किसी ने कहा कि हम 60 टेक्नोलॉजी क्या बनाई है वो रखेंगे। तो मैंने कहा नहीं, कुछ नहीं, ये जो न्यूज़पेपर है समझिए आप, ये पूरा कागज है, प्लेन पेपर है, उसके ऊपर एक सिर्फ फिंगर की छवि होगी, एंड ऑन दैट द इलेक्शन इंक जो आप सब लगाते हैं। ये इलेक्शन की इसने बनाई थी, पता है आपको? हमारी नेशनल फिजिकल लेबॉर्ट्री। सो मैंने सोचा कि ये जो हमारी टेक्नोलॉजी है CSR की, वो हर व्यक्ति जो है, इट इज ऑन हिज फिंगर टिप्स, करेक्ट? तो द एडवर्टीजमेंट दैट वी हैड was a blank paper where only finger was sticking out. So आप पेपर पढ़ते होंगे तो आप सडनली देखेंगे कोई कोरा कागज है, उसके ऊपर सिर्फ एक फिंगर टिप है और ये भी है। तो मैंने कहा कि CSR टेक्नोलॉजी ऑन एवरी फिंगर टिप, है ना? तो अटल जी, मुझे सुदीन कुलकर्णी ने कहा कि वो उस सुबह को ब्रेकफास्ट ले रहे थे, और सुदीन कुलकर्णी उनके पास थे। तो उन्होंने ये देखा और ये क्या है, सुदीन जी को पूछा। तो सुदीन जी ने बताया उनको ये कि क्या है, दैट इलेक्शन इंक जो CSR ने बनाई है, NPL ने बनाई है, वो आज डेमोक्रेसी प्रोटेक्ट कर रही है और कैसे हो रहा है। तो अटल जी ने क्या किया, जब हमारा 2003 का वो ये था फाउंडेशन डे था, तो सुबह उन्होंने उनको जो स्पीच दिया था वो बाजू में रखा, और पूरा उनका लेक्चर डेमोक्रेसी एंड टेक्नोलॉजी, लोकतंत्र और तंत्रज्ञान पे था। ऐसा लेक्चर मैंने अभी तक सुना नहीं है। ये हुई अटल जी की बात। तो उन्होंने उस वक्त ये भी कहा था कि टेक्नोलॉजी का हम फायदा ले सकते हैं, उससे बुराई भी हो सकती है। वो कितने सच है आप देखिए। ये कल का इंडियन एक्सप्रेस है, और ये इंडियन एक्सप्रेस आप देखेंगे तो इसमें हेडलाइन है, अहेड ऑफ लोकसभा पोस्ट, IT मिनिस्टर फ्लैग्स सोशल मीडिया इन्फ्लुएंस ऑन डेमोक्रेटिक प्रोसेसेस। आज सोशल मीडिया क्या कर रहा है आपको पता है? तो उन्होंने कहा है, कॉल्स फॉर स्ट्रॉन्गर लीगल स्ट्रक्चर, मोर अकाउंटेबिलिटी ऑफ प्लेटफॉर्म्स एंड यूजर्स। And he says, and I quote him, that he is very concerned about the way the platforms are driving opinions, and we require more accountability and better legislation. है ना? तो ये हुआ अटल जी। राजीव गांधी, 31st October 1904, he took over as the Prime Minister. And then I remember some of us were called to talk about technology and how it is going to change. Those were early days. I'm talking about now 1984, means 16 plus 20, 40 years ago, basically. So B.G. Deshmukh had moved from, he was Chief Secretary in Maharashtra, and he had moved as a Cabinet Secretary. And then he talked about the fact that the High Court had approached him, Bombay High Court, Mumbai High Court, about getting a new building. So he said, why do you require a new building? And he went and saw the High Court building then. And what did he saw? Those court case files, you know, wrapped in red ribbons, as you know, they were all stocked all over, and there was no space. So he says, why don't we convert them into microfiche? At that time there were different technologies, scanning technology नहीं थे उस वक्त, और अगर माइक्रोफिश पे आप उसको स्टोर करेंगे तो पूरा एक कबर्ड में हो जाएगा सब. You know what they told him? They said, sir, if the case comes up, we have to take that original file back. Can you imagine? उस वक्त की बात. And now contrast this with what is happening now. On 8 December, we had the Jamnalal Bajaj Foundation Awards ceremony. I happen to be the chairman of the foundation, so I had to be there, and Chief Justice Chandrachud had come. And then Chief Justice Chandrachud and I had a conversation, and he talked about how he was talking about green bench. Green bench का ये मतलब नहीं कि वो उधर environmental issues were being discussed. Green bench means paperless. So can you imagine in 84, we said without paper we can't do. Files आनी चाहिए. And now the Chief Justice is talking about green bench, actually paperless. And what a transformation. He is not doing digitalization, he is doing digital transformation. क्योंकि जैसे caterpillar होता है वो butterfly में transform होता है ना. You don't make caterpillar a faster caterpillar. Digitalization is that, no, ये computerization किया, इसका computerization, वो नहीं. Total transformation. So his aspiration is democratizing access to justice. Total justice, a total transformation. And then the massive project that is going on in computerizing 18,735 codes and connecting them with wide area networks and digital preservation, scan karo, store karo, retrieve karo, digitalize karo, and so on and so forth. I want to bring the contrast, the way India has actually changed. Artificial intelligence-based text-to-speech call-out systems are being introduced. इसका मतलब ये है कि अगर 1000 pages हो गए, 1500 pages हो गए, तो time तो नहीं है अपने पास. तो AI वो पढ़ के आपको एक 5 मिनट में उसका मतलब क्या है, उसका sort of main gist क्या है, ये बता सकता है. Thousands of pages. और दूसरा तो ये है कि faster analysis, then understanding the case management, multilingual support, because one of the biggest problems, what Chief Justice was telling me, is language, because India has multiple languages. And how do you pass the judgment and cases in different languages and still use it? So all that can be done with sort of modern technology. Why did I focus on this particular part? Because of democracy, there are 4 pillars. Legislature, that you represent, executive, judiciary, and media. And all of them are getting affected by technology, are influenced by technology. That is the most important point. You have seen, for example, now thanks to technology, Sansad TV, what difference it is making. You can watch debate, the entire nation can sort of see what is going on. Then National E-Vision, NEVA, then the digital functioning of assemblies, how e-Sansad is being managed with digital infrastructure, advanced analysis, data utilization, ensuring real-time, data-driven sort of decision-making, evidence-based policy-making, etc., etc. So there are massive changes. Let us get back to the fundamentals. What is democracy? Government in which supreme power is vested in the people and exercised by them directly or indirectly through a system of representation usually involved in periodically held free elections. So people's participation is the most important thing in this. And that is where technology can bring a lot of good. For example, the first is access to information. As you know, enhanced access to information about government actions, government policies, government decisions, total transparency, informed civic debates. Then e-voting, digital democracy, e-voting system, digital platforms, barriers to access going. Then citizen engagement. Directly to nahi kar sakte. We are 104 crore, 40 crore people. But now technology allows you to participate. Citizens engaging with policymakers, participating in decision making and direct involvement. ऐसे था, when we started our humanity, there was a one-to-one conversation. Then it became one too many, but there was restriction 10 to 100. But then you could address by using technology, so thousands, 10,000s, 100,000 हो गए. But it was one way. वहाँ से पीछे वापस उनका रिएक्शन क्या है वो नहीं आता था. तो अभी डिजिटल तो इंटरैक्टिव हो गया. So it is not one to many, many to many, as you can see in social media. So ये जो transformation हो गया, that is very, very important. So participation in the decision making, social media we just talked about. In fact, there is a report in 2020, it is called Pew Research Center report. And they have shown that that survey showed that 30% of the people said that our opinion got changed by social media. 30%, 1 out of 3. You can see the power of social media. And that is why the minister is actually concerned. And I'm very happy to see that Indian government has been very proactive. The open government data, the OGT platform, for example, which is centralized repository of government data, brings in transparency. MyGov platform, for example, engaging the civil society, with the government in many ways. These are all very important things. You talked about EVM. And of course, we have this now quick turnaround with great efficiency. And to bring transparency, there is this voter verified paper audit, VVPAT, as you know, trail, and the extra layer of transparency, etc. So therefore, we are now seeing the turn from physical to digital, but it will always be physical. It will never be fully physical or fully digital. Human interventions will be always there. I also, while we are talking about basically the use of technology, we have to say, what are the essentials of a good democracy? First, citizen participation in decision making, I talked about. The fact that all citizens are equal before the law, everyone can participate, no one is left behind, no one is above law, protection of minority rights, free and fair elections, then freedom of thought, freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, independent judiciary, and we talked about that, and so on and so forth. So what we have to see is that each one of these, how technology gets affected. And for each one of these, how technology can affect positively. And how the negative effects can be removed. So there are bad effects also. For example, disinformation. And you talked about AI, artificial intelligence, fake. Anybody can copy my voice and face and put something. And I can't know कि ये मैं हूँ या दूसरा कोई है. तो ये तो हो सकता है. Then social media manipulation. There is a privacy concern. आपका डेटा है, आपके पास ही रहना चाहिए ना, दूसरे किसी ने नहीं लेना चाहिए. ऑनलाइन harassment तो आपने देखा होगा. अगर आपको पसंद नहीं आया किसी का तो ट्रोलिंग होता है. ट्रोलिंग मशीनरी हमने देखी है अभी बहुत. When you are in the opposite party. Digital authoritization. I mean, there is possibility that some governments can do surveillance and censorship of a very different kind, taking away the freedom. And therefore, it is very important that there is a transparency. And that's what the minister talks about, by the way. He has talked about platforms and algorithms, how they can be actually misused. And there, for example, algorithms, and I will quote him. Actually, he says, use of algorithms to distribute content on social media. Then once you say algorithms will decide what is going to be seen, is that equitable? Because it is not equitable because you are not actually seeing what you want to see, what they want you to see. The way the manipulation is done. So usko kaisa hum protect kare. I think that's why it is extremely important that we bring transparency in the development and deployment of algorithms, and therefore robust data privacy regulator होना चाहिए, cyber security, critical systems का protection, ethical design and inclusion, digital inclusion, क्योंकि सबके साथ इंडिया इज स्टिल, हम लोग भारत एट 75 की बात करते हैं, इंडिया एट 75 की, लेकिन भारत एट 75 इज द रियलिटी. 70% stay in villages. 1 out of 6 in cities stays in slums. 1 out of 5 is illiterate. 1 out of 6, sorry, is illiterate. And latest data shows 1 out of 5 is below the poverty line. तो inequality है ना बहुत सारी, और inequality तो बढ़ रही है. Rich are getting richer, poor are getting poorer. So how to remove these, I think is going to be very important. And there, technology is going to play a great role, a positive role. We can use a positive role. It was mentioned that I was born under very hard circumstances. I will just give you one example on how technology can do good, and then I will close. I was born in a very poor family, in a village called Mashel. My father died when I was 6. My mother was illiterate. She took me to Mumbai. I studied under street lights. I walked barefoot until I was 12. 2 meals a day was a challenge. I was the only son. And at secondary school certificate exam, 1960, I stood 11th among 135,000 students, and I got Tata Scholarship. That is why I'm here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. Okay? I got access to education. That is the most important part, as a matter of fact. That's why my favorite equation, E is equal to F. Education is equal to future. That's how I made my future. So this access becomes very, very important. But there is what is called access to dignity. When my mother passed away, whatever was her savings she left behind, and she said, don't forget our roots. Do some science for the poor, but also those who do science for the poor, help them. So I created what are called as Anjani Mashelkar Inclusive Innovation Awards. Making high technology work for the poor, usko hi deta hu main. All right? Unfortunately, I have not brought it, but I would have shown you how there is a portable ECG which does ECG in 5 rupees, for example. Hemoglobin. Somebody has developed a camera where you just look into it, and the conjunctiva picture is taken by reflectors photometry, and you can see hemoglobin. 5 rupees per person. Breast cancer, within $1, like that. So that is making technology work for the poor. So one of the things, access to dignity की बात कर रहा हूँ. आप manual scavengers को देखते हैं. Young people, they die because of toxic fumes and this, that, and the other, etc. So some Kerala boys created Bandicoot, and that Bandicoot is a robot which goes inside. They said, why manhole? Why should man be in the hole? Let machine go in the hole. Okay? So what happens now? अगर आप robot लगाएंगे, तो he will lose the job. खाना कहाँ मिलेगा? So they trained those displaced manual scavengers as robot operators. अभी देखिए आपको. If they were going to school, आपके पिता क्या करते हैं? तो we would have said they are manual scavengers. है ना? आज बोलेंगे वो robot operator है. ये transformation है. And now government is bringing legislation for replacing these and so on. तो ये जो transformation है, because in the democracy, equality as well as access to dignity for everyone is common, and I'm just giving you one example of how that dignity can be sort of brought out. So India has to become a role model for the rest. Technology तो devastation कर रही है सब जगह, लेकिन हम लोग दिखा सकते हैं कि इससे भलाई केवल हमारी नहीं, पूरी मानवता की कैसे कर सकते हैं. धन्यवाद.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया सर. बहुत ही संक्षिप्त और स्पष्ट वक्तव्य आप लोगों को अभी सुनने को मिला फ्रॉम वन ऑफ द मोस्ट नोन साइंटिस्ट ऑफ आवर टाइम, आदरणीय माशेलकर सर. मुझे आप सब लोगों को ये बताकर बहुत खुशी हो रही है कि हमारे साथ लोकसभा की माननीय भूतपूर्व अध्यक्ष आदरणीय मीरा कुमार जी भी हमारे साथ जुड़ चुकी हैं ऑनलाइन। जोरदार तालियों से हम सब उनका स्वागत करेंगे। और मैं उनसे विनती करता हूं कि आप सबको इस राष्ट्रीय विधायक सम्मेलन के अगले पड़ाव में जो कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग प्रोग्राम जो हमारा चल रहा है उसमें आपका संबोधन सारे देश के विधायक जो अलग अलग राज्यों से यहाँ पे आए हैं, उत्तर से भी हैं, दक्षिण से भी हैं, पूरब से भी हैं, पश्चिम से भी हैं, कुछ भाषाई अवरोध भी हैं, कुछ हमारे तमिल जनप्रतिनिधि आदरणीय भी यहाँ पर हैं, तो कुछ बिहार उत्तर प्रदेश के लोग भी हैं। इसको आपको, इस समन्वय की धारा को आपको बढ़ाना है अपने भाषाई कौशल से। आपने तो देश के अनेकों सांसदों को अपने हिसाब से आचरण और मर्यादा की बात कही है। ये सब लोग आपके वक्तव्य सुनने के लिए उत्सुक हैं। आदरणीय मीरा कुमार मैम।
आदरणीय विधायकगण, इस अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण गोष्ठी में उपस्थित सभी श्रोतागण, मेरे बहुत ही प्रिय और सम्मानित राहुल कराड़ जी, उनके पिता श्री विश्वनाथ कराड़ जी, मैं सबसे पहले तो बधाई देती हूँ कि बिना किसी अवरोध के और कोई व्यवधान के, बिना अंतराल को लंबा खींचे हुए हम सबको आप इकट्ठा करते हैं और हम अपने विचार इस महत्वपूर्ण मंच पर व्यक्त करते हैं। ये अवसर आप हमें देते हैं, इसके लिए बहुत बहुत बधाई, बहुत धन्यवाद। हमें इस समय ये विचार करना है कि जनतंत्र जब आ गया तो जनतंत्र में जो साधारण व्यक्ति है, जो दबा हुआ व्यक्ति है, जो महिलाएं हैं, जिन्हें कहा जाता है कि अभी तक सेकंड क्लास सिटीजन हैं, हमारे देश में जाति प्रथा है। जाति प्रथा में भेदभाव और छुआछूत की व्यवस्था है। तो इसके सबसे निचली सीढ़ी पर जो लोग हैं, जो पिछड़ गए हैं, जो आर्थिक रूप से कमज़ोर हैं, किसी भी जाति के हों, जिन्हें निर्धन कहते हैं, गरीब कहते हैं, उनकी भागीदारी इस जनतंत्र में कैसे है? हमने अपना संविधान बनाया है। बहुत से देशों में अभी तक संविधान बना नहीं है और जिन्होंने 190 वर्ष तक हम पर शासन किया, उस देश ने भी अभी तक लिखित संविधान नहीं बनाया है। मगर है, संविधान है, हमारे पास संविधान है और वो जैसे मेरुदंड होता है उस तरह से हमारे जनतंत्र का मेरुदंड है, उस पर हमारा जनतंत्र टिका हुआ है। तो इस संविधान को हम लोगों तक कैसे ले जाएं, धरातल पर कैसे ले जाएं? सिर्फ जो बौद्धिक स्तर पर कार्य कर रहे हैं, जो पढ़े लिखे लोग हैं, जो ज्ञानवान लोग हैं, उन्हीं तक सीमित न रह जाए। अगर हम इसको अपने देश के सबसे दबे हुए लोगों के बीच में नहीं ले जाते हैं तो हमारा जनतंत्र सफल कैसे होगा? कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग की बात की आपने, गुड गवर्नेंस की बात की गई। तो कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग तो तभी होगा जब गुड गवर्नेंस होगी। गुड गवर्नेंस तभी होगी जब हम अपने संविधान को धरातल पर ले जाने का संकल्प लेंगे। तो ये सब जुड़े हुए हैं। संविधान को धरातल पर ले जाने के लिए गुड गवर्नेंस की जरूरत है। ये गुड गवर्नेंस क्या है? वो प्रक्रिया जिसमें हम निर्णय लेते हैं, सरकारी तौर पर निर्णय लेते हैं और बहुत सी गैर सरकारी संस्थाओं में भी निर्णय लिए जाते, मगर यहाँ पर हम जो सरकारी तौर पर निर्णय लिए जाते हैं उनकी बात कर रहे हैं, कैसे निर्णय होने चाहिए, और फिर जो निर्णय लिए जाते हैं उनको कार्यान्वित करने की प्रक्रिया कैसी होनी चाहिए, कितनी सुलभ होनी चाहिए, जो आम जन है उनके लिए कितनी सुलभ होनी चाहिए, इतनी जटिल ना हो कि वो समझ ना पाए। तो एक तरफ तो हम कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग की बात करते हैं कि उनको ये समझ आ जाए कि उनके लिए क्या किया जा रहा है। एक तरफ हमें ये भी सोचना चाहिए कि हमें अपनी प्रक्रिया को इतना जटिल नहीं रखना चाहिए कि वो आम जन के लिए दुर्लभ हो जाए, उनके पहुंच से बाहर हो जाए। तो पार्टिसिपेटरी हो, इसमें सब हिस्सा ले सके। पहले जो शासन हुआ करता था उसमें सब हिस्सा नहीं लेते थे, बहुत से लोगों को अलग रखा जाता था। अब ऐसी व्यवस्था की गई है कि सब हिस्सा ले सके, लेकिन क्या वास्तव में सब हिस्सा ले पाते हैं, ये देखना होगा। कौन लोग छूट जाते हैं, कौन लोग हाशिए पे रह जाते हैं, ये देखना होगा। तो जितना ज़्यादा हम अपने इस गुड गवर्नेंस को, अपनी कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग की प्रक्रिया को सहज सुलभ बनाएंगे, उतना हमारा जनतंत्र सफल होगा। और कितना लोग इसमें पहुंच पा रहे हैं, एक्सेसिबिलिटी कितनी है, लोग समझ कितना पा रहे हैं इसको। बहुत से लोग नहीं समझते। कानून क्या, लोकसभा का कानून पारित हो गया, कई दफा मैं पूछती हूँ हमारे यहाँ जो सहायक हैं, सहायिका हैं, हमारे कर्मचारी हैं, कि क्या कानून बना मालूम है, तो उन्हें नहीं मालूम। जब उन्हें मालूम ही नहीं है तो वो इसका इस्तेमाल कैसे करेंगे। तो सिर्फ पार्टिसिपेटरी नहीं होना चाहिए, एक्सेसिबिलिटी होनी चाहिए, लोगों को समझ आना चाहिए, लोग की उस हिस्से हिस्सेदारी होनी चाहिए। और ये जो भी कुछ कर रहे हैं जनतंत्र में, उसमें सबकी राय लेनी आवश्यक है। सर्वसम्मति तो संभव है नहीं, हो जाए तो बहुत अच्छा है, लेकिन सर्वसम्मति संभव नहीं हो पाती है। आम राय जरूर बन जानी चाहिए, कंसेंसस बेस्ड होना चाहिए। कंसेंसस है लोगों का, ऐसा नहीं तो वो ऑटोक्रेसी हो जाएगी, तानाशाही हो जाएगी, जहाँ पर आम राय से काम नहीं हुआ। तो आम राय से काम होगा। और आम राय हमें कैसे पता चलेगी, जब पारदर्शिता, ट्रांसपेरेंसी बहुत जरूरी है गुड गवर्नेंस के लिए। जनतंत्र को अच्छे से चलाने के लिए हम जितना अपने को पारदर्शक रखेंगे उतना ज्यादा सफल होंगे। और मैं कोशिश कर रही हूँ, आई एम ट्राइंग माई बेस्ट टू स्पीक बोथ इन इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी, बिकॉज आई नो देर आर honorable members from non-speaking Hindi areas and also Hindi speaking areas and Tamil speaking areas, Kannada speaking areas, Malayalam speaking areas, Telugu speaking areas, Bengali speaking areas, so many, so beautiful. When I was speaker, we had, up now also, we have 22 official languages. And in the parliament, I had 22 interpreters to interpret them. But here, I will try my best to be able to address everybody. But I'll be speaking only in English and Hindi. I won't be able to speak in 22 languages. So now, this has to be responsible. हमारा जो जनतंत्र है वो एक तरफा नहीं है, वो तानाशाही एक तरफी होती है कि ऊपर से हुक्म आ गया उसको बचाओ, ऊपर का हुक्म जो है उसका पालन करो। Whatever in dictatorship, whatever the order comes from above has to be followed. It is not responsive. But here in democracy, there is both. The dialogue must go on from both sides. If something is decided at the level of the government, at those who have been elected and who have been given the charge of running this country, they should decide, and that decision should also percolate down to everybody at the ground level, and they should also express their views. वो भी अपने अपने विचार व्यक्त करें कि ये ठीक से कार्यान्वित हो रहा है या नहीं हो रहा है, ये कितना सफल हो रहा है, क्या ये असफल हो गया. हर दिन इस पर पहरेदारी की आवश्यकता है. Every day we have to be vigilant about it, and then whatever the decision, it has to be effective and efficient. If the decision is not effective, if it is not implemented efficiently, it becomes something which should be thrown in the waste paper basket. Then it is of no use to the public. It is no use to the poor. It is not used to the marginalized. So we have to see that it is implemented effectively. And that includes many things. That includes that there is no corruption. That includes that there are no mafia. I'm afraid mafias are all over the world. Mafias are really mushrooming and taking over the resources of the country. So one has to be very careful that there is no corruption, there is no mafia, and the decision which has been taken is honestly, efficiently implemented. And when it is being implemented, one which I always stress, जो मैं हमेशा जिस पर बहुत बहुत ज़्यादा ध्यान रखती हूँ और सबसे आग्रह करती हूँ कि ध्यान रखें, वो हमारी आत्मा की आवाज़ इसको समझ करके इस पर ध्यान रखें, वो हम मनुष्यता का तकाजा समझ करके इस पे ध्यान रखें कि जो भी निर्णय लिया गया है और जो हमें कार्यान्वित करना है उसमें बराबरी है, गैर बराबरी नहीं है. ऐसा नहीं है कि कोई पीछे छूट गया, किसी की अनदेखी हो गई. It should not be like this. Whatever we are implementing should come like the voice of our conscience, the voice of the collective conscience of the country. It should come, and it should be pure. It should be without any kind of discrimination. It should reach out. Yes, there is discrimination. I would say there would be discrimination because I always advocate, and I'm a very strong advocate of favoring those who are lagging behind, those who have never got respect in our society, those who have been left out. You should favor them. To that extent, yes, you should always put them first. They should be first. That is a term. Equality comes with that kind of a tag. Then this, we should not live in jungle Raj. We should live where there is rule of law. Everything. No, sure, nobody should be above law. Nobody should be above law. But then law should also be such that it is not exercised with vengeance by those who are able to do it. They should, those who have the power to exercise law, rule, they should ensure that they are being just. They are being just, and they should not keep anybody above law, and there should not be even the slightest hint of prejudice so far as rule of law is concerned. So these are some of the precepts of the good governance. and also what is basically required in a democracy. And what we really, what I would emphasize on, that in a democracy, the people who are lagging behind, like women, just so many examples where women are being treated very badly. And we feel ashamed that this is happening in our country, where we have the caste system, where those who are at the lowest rung of the caste system are, there's so many unimaginable, inhuman atrocities against them. Then we have the tribes, so many tribes and the beautiful culture, but they are not given due respect and dignity. Those who are backward and those who are minority. We are a country, multi-religious country. We are very proud that we have 8 major religions of the world in our country, which have enriched our country. We should not only be tolerant. Secularism is the equidistance from every religion. Some people use the word being tolerant of all the religion. I use the word being respectful towards all religion. That is what being Indian means, that we are respectful towards all religion. So we should, these are the basic necessities of democracy in India. We are very proud of our democracy, but whatever we are proud of, we should preserve it. I'm so grateful and I wish you all the very best. We are meeting for the first time in New Year. I wish you all a very happy New Year, a very long life, more than 100 years on this beautiful planet, very good health and all the happiness.
Thank you very much, madam, for your words of wisdom and insightful thoughts on the session. Thank you very much. And now, friends, the forum is open for discussion. For next 15-20 minutes, I request honorable MLAs and MLCs to express their opinions.
एक बार फिर से आप सबका इस प्रश्नोत्तर में स्वागत है। छोटा प्रश्न रहेगा तो ज़्यादा जनप्रतिनिधियों को मौका लगेगा और आदरणीय माशेलकर सर हमारे साथ में हैं तो आप लोगों को भी वो चीज़ें जान में तो जो भी हमारे माननीय सदस्य प्रश्न के लिए कुछ प्रश्न पूछना चाहते हैं तो आप अपना हाथ खड़ा कर सकते हैं, मैं उन तक पहुंच जाऊंगा। अमित जी ने सबसे पहले हाथ उठाया है।
My question is very simple. Are we looking at something called one nation, one data repository kind of thing to connect all the offices across the country so that we have transparency when it comes to exchanging the data and information? Are we having a planning to come up with those kind of repositories?
We'll collect a few questions and together I will try to answer because some of them could be overlapping. Huh? Please.
सर मेरा सवाल ये है कि जैसे कुछ अन्य देशों में सरकारी यंत्रणाओं के माध्यम से प्रचार करने का मौका और खर्चा सरकार की ओर से होता है, तो क्या ये संभव है कि भारत देश में भी आने वाले समय में कोई राजकीय पक्ष को अपनी बात रखने और प्रचार करने के लिए गवर्नमेंट का सपोर्ट और खर्चा मिलेगा ताकि उसका भी जो करप्शन है वो कम हो?
इस तरफ से भी किसी ने हाथ उठाया था जी।
गुड मॉर्निंग सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि जैसे आपने कहा कि काफ़ी सिंप्लिसिटी के साथ आपने काफ़ी स्ट्रगल करके यहाँ अभी आपका चाइल्डहुड बहुत स्ट्रगल में रहा, तो मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि जैसे आज के बच्चे बहुत एक्सपेंसिव टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ पढ़ते हैं और उन्हें सारा रिक्वायरमेंट रहता है, अगर वो रिक्वायरमेंट फुलफ़िल ना किया जाए तो शायद वो आज इस इंस्टीट्यूट तक नहीं पहुँचे। तो जो बच्चे केपेबल नहीं है तो शायद वो इस जगह आने से वंचित रह जाएं। तो टेक्नोलॉजी एक तरफ बढ़ रहा है तो बच्चों के परवरिश में भी डिफरेंसेस बढ़ रहा है। तो ये किस तरह की पॉलिसीज़ गवर्नमेंट को बनानी चाहिए कि केपेबल अनकेपेबल में ज़्यादा डिफरेंसेस ना हो?
सर आप लोगों के, if you have any questions from your end, I'll just approach you, sir.
Good morning to everyone. My name is Nagaraj Yadav from Bangalore. I am a member of Legislative Council from Vidhan Parishad, Karnataka. I have a question to say that now that India is one of the fastest growing economy in the world. And also we see that one side economical growth, on one side we are talking about sustainability of democracy and sustainable of democracy and taking the democracy in a true value to the last level of the citizens in the country. But one side we see that unemployment rates are increasing, one side the corruption rates are increasing, immaterial which political party is in power, which state, in the whole country. But can the technology come forward and go to the last level of the country to sustain and improve the implementation of programs and policies of any government where transparency comes in place and sustain democracy to a longer period, because we are the largest democracy in the world. If corruption continues and the division of people, so-called Indians in the name of language and religion continues and communalism increases, can the technology come in place to uphold the values of democracy and values of constitution to the highest level of Indian democracy?
So we'll take this forward. Repeat.
So I think the first question was. Acha, one more.
Excuse me,
sir. Sir, I'm MLA from Tamil Nadu, a 3-time continuously winning MLA from Tamil Nadu, and Chief Whip of the party in Tamil Nadu Assembly. My name is Vijay Dharni, and also a practicing lawyer in the Supreme Court. Insofar as today's subject, innovations, technology, and strengthening the fabric of democracy, I strongly feel, of course, new innovations and technology, definitely in all the fields, of course, we expect these things to happen, and it is happening. We cannot say that there is a block or anything. The technology chain is continued, no doubt about it. Presently, all the states and the center is doing its job insofar as encouraging new innovations and the technological development. And digital India also is taking a good lead. That was originally brought by Rajiv Gandhi when he was the Prime Minister. He opened up the gates for innovation, no doubt about it. As our Speaker Sir, he pointed it out in 1982 when he was a part of the Scientific Advisory Committee. He pointed out very well that this innovation started in that period. And now it has grown up in such a level. Definitely the present government also has done a good job, no doubt about it. We do acknowledge about it. And very important is, I have a question that this digital India and this innovation or technology, can it be utilized insofar as elections are concerned? Why not it be expanded to the extent that voters vote by way of, even not going even to the booths? Why not it be online voting? Like we are doing it in various organizations now, online voting is happening. So mandatory voting, we can make it online, checking the Aadhaar and allowing the fingerprint and the iris. We can encourage online voting, because we are also today talking about the fabric of democracy. This fabric of democracy, now it is, as my friend Mr. Nagaraj said, corruption is also an issue. Deep issue. Corrupting the people, insofar as elections are concerned, it's a deep issue. So it's a mockery of democracy. So what I strongly feel is, to make the fabric of democracy in a better way, this online voting can help booth. It will bring down the booth expenses. It will bring down the election expenses in a very big way insofar as government is concerned. Government expenses, individual contestants, and also it will bring down the expenses insofar as cash for votes can be avoided. Corrupting the people can stop. So all these things can definitely evolve if we are able to expand the technology through the election commission and bring the online voting and improve the fabric of democracy. This is a good subject. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, madam. I request for short questions.
With the permission of Honorable Mashelkar sir, there are a few more people they want to ask questions.
One last one.
Yeah.
One liner.
His hand was up quite a bit.
One liner question for me.
टेक्नोलॉजी के कारण लोकतंत्र में जो निर्धन निर्बल लोग हैं उनको जितना फ़ायदा हो रहा है, क्या उससे कहीं ज़्यादा उनके जीवन में नुकसान हो रहा है? हम इस विषय पर आपसे चाहेंगे कि जैसे मैं एक उदाहरण देता हूँ कि जैसे उनको ऑनलाइन सब चीज़ में करना है, आज हर सुविधा के लिए उनको ऑनलाइन करना है, खुद से उनके पास ये कैपेसिटी नहीं है कि वो ऑनलाइन करें और कहीं न कहीं साइबर ठगी के शिकार हो रहे हैं पैसे निकालने में डीबीटी योजना से। तो जहां फ़ायदा है वहां नुकसान भी है, लेकिन गरीब लोगों के जीवन में नुकसान ज़्यादा हो रहा है, इसका फ़ायदा कम हो रहा है। इसको कैसे हम मैनेज करें?
Thank you, sir.
Just one liner, sir.
मेरा एक ही रिक्वेस्ट है सभी लोगों से कि
A kind
समय कम
request.
है,
Most
एक
important.
मिनट में अब
Yeah, just
एक-
one line.
मैं राजेश ऋषि दिल्ली
सर एक
Assembly,
विधानसभा से
in the assembly, there's
सर मेरा
one
एक
most
ही आपसे
important.
कहना है कि अन्ना जी कहा करते थे पैसे से सत्ता और सत्ते से पैसा। जब ये सब चलेगा तो भ्रष्टाचार कैसे खत्म होगा, इसका आप बताइए। दूसरा, हॉर्स ट्रेडिंग कैसे रोकी जा सकती है राजनीति में? धन्यवाद।
The most important part of the assembly is the question hour. So how we can strengthen the question hour in the assembly to do in a more effective way.
Thank you, sir. Now it is.
Yeah, I think if you can repeat.
Yes. So the first question that was put up was about one nation, one data repository. How is it going to take shape and will it be the future? Okay. Second question was about funds for electioneering. Can the government provide these funds? Will it enable lessening of corruption, especially that funds spent during electioneering? Another question was, technology has made education expensive. So how can technology be utilized to help underprivileged students? Because a lot of tools being used in education today are getting expensive. So how do we make it accessible to the poorest of the poor?
So let me break this up in, let's say, the first three and the rest. So I have a confession. I'm not a politician. Neither am I a government functionary. I'm a simple scientist and technologist and a citizen of this country. So my response is through my limitation of being a scientist, being a technologist, and not understanding politics. I sort of admit to that. As far as this idea of one nation, one data, is an interesting idea, by the way. Because what is happening is the digital world is actually so transformative that anything is possible. I'll give you an example as a scientist. Normally when we do research, let's say finding out a new drug molecule, there is a laboratory, multinational companies will put billions of dollars and create it. What we tried to do was democratization of drug discovery. It was called open source drug discovery. You know how many nations participated? 136. Do you know how many scientists participated? 7,600. And 40% of them were students participating in drug discovery, which was supposed to be multinational game. We did that in CSR. And we have a breakthrough on a tuberculosis new molecule which is undergoing clinical trials. 10, 15 years ago, this was unthinkable. But Web 2.0 allows you to do that. And now we are moving into Web 3.0. All right? So the issue of democratization, of data, access to billions at the same time is not unreal anymore. We see, for example, democratization of wealth creation. I'm expanding the answer to give you a broader scope of what is going to happen. Until 2016, we had 476 startups. Within 5 years, we have had 70,000, exponential. Until 2016, we had one unicorn per year. Unicorn is $1 billion market cap. In 2021, we had one unicorn per week, almost 44, not 52. 50% of them, I did the analysis, came from Tier 3 and Tier 2 cities. And that was because of the digital public infrastructure that we have created and access that has been provided, basically. So what it means, this is democratization of wealth creation, a Tier 3 city, a farmer's son, sort of getting that. So the simple answer that I have is that digital transformation is one where you can carry that particular magic. Is there a downside of it? Yes. For every upside, there is a downside. Because at the end, when we talk about data, privacy and access, and whose data, the quality of the data, and access to whom, and under what conditions, becomes an issue. So many times, technology will provide you a solution, but there will be other unintended consequences of trying to do that. So we have to weigh that. That's my simple answer. The second, as far as the electioneering expenses are concerned, I have zero expertise on that. So my apologies. I will answer only thing that is sort of connected with technology. As far as the assertion that education is becoming expensive because of technologies, I do not agree. When I don't agree, I will say I do not agree. You just see today, access to mobile internet is cheapest in the world. 4 rupees per GB data and voice free is the cheapest in the world. And that is why you see such access all over. In fact, I go the other way around. I would simply say that if you give access, all right, the digital the public infrastructure is so powerful today that everyone will benefit. As a matter of fact, both education-wise as well as health-wise, we have sort of seen that happen. In education, what is, however, important is giving access to everyone and not a few. I'll give you an example. During COVID time, a friend of mine brought his son to me, a grandson to me, and he said, we have a problem with this. I said, what is the problem? He said, he knows everything. I said, how can that be a problem? I said, sit down. What is your favorite subject? He said, all subjects. I said, no, let's be specific. And because it was COVID, we went into biology. I said, what is the difference between bacteria and virus? Perfect answer. Then I raised the bar. I said, there is something called mutation. What is it? Correct answer. Then I asked him, spike protein. Correct answer. Then we went to DNA. And I had my iPad where I had a photograph of mine having breakfast with Watson, Nobel laureate, who discovered the structure of DNA. I said, who is he? He couldn't answer. I said, Watson. As soon as I said Watson, he said, Watson and Crick, which year he got, and so on. Then I said, you know so much about Nobel laureate. Who is the person who has got 2 Nobel Prizes? Madame Curie, immediately. I said, no. Also Linus Pauling. He said, no. First for science, second for... 8-year-old, giving these answers to me. And during COVID time when he didn't go to school. So I asked his father, how come? He said, we trusted him and we gave him access to Google. That's it. Google was his guru. The same week, just a few kilometers from him, there's a 15-year-old girl. Shraddha Kaur, who committed suicide. You know why? She couldn't attend online exam. Why? Her poor parents could not give her this thing. So problem is, Ved, that boy belongs to Bharat at 75, India at 75. And that girl belongs to Bharat at 75. That is the challenge. Our challenge is not that digital is going to make it expensive. It's quite the other way around. It is about giving access to everyone. I would put it this way. So these are the first three questions.
Yes.
Next.
The next question is, on the one hand, we are becoming the fastest economy, yet there is issue of corruption and unemployment, which is on the increase. Can technology be used to help implementation of schemes and bring more transparency in democracy?
I will answer this straight away. I think we have seen that during COVID time. Thanks to JAM, that is Jandan Yojana, Aadhaar and mobile, accounts were created. In fact, we have a Guinness Book of Record of creating maximum accounts, basically, in 1 week. And that has helped. Inclusion. In fact, India was the most unbanked country. And now you see in mobile data transactions, we are number one. 46% of world's transactions take place in one country, India today. That is because low-cost access has been given. Everybody can afford it, you know. So therefore, what has happened is that this has created, for example, during the COVID time, money had to be transferred. I remember Rajiv Gandhi's speech when he said, out of 1 rupee, 10 paisa reach. Now out of 1 rupee reached everybody during the time. So digitalization is a great equalizer, as a matter of fact, okay? And not the other way around. You have to use it properly. I would put it this way. Next one.
So we have Digital India, and the facilities that Digital India has provided, can they be utilized for
what? Sorry?
Digital India? Can that be used to have online voting, because that would cut down expenses of creating voting booths and time taken in elections?
I heard that question, by the way, and it's a very interesting sort of question. In fact, what is happening is that people are talking about EVMs, of course, and people are also talking about them getting manipulated. My problem is not science, but behavioral science. You do anything. What will a human do? Drone is there. It can supply medicine to the poorest of the poor in the remotest area in times of difficulty. But drone is also being used to kill people that you want selectively. Who is sort of, controlling it? It's a human mind. Mrs. Gandhi's guards were given rifles to protect her, that technology. What did they do? They killed her. So any given technology, artificial intelligence, generative AI, any technology that you take, it's human mind that finally controls it. So that's why I said that digital transformations are such that anything is possible. However, given a system, how do you ensure that it is not used improperly? That is the big challenge, as a matter of fact. In fact, there is an alternative system. I just saw it. I think if you can take the name of the honorable individual who made that particular comment and get her detail to me, I would send you something which is almost equivalent that is being actually practiced, just with the use of the card and so on and so forth, but it's not from home, by the way, that I must tell you, basically. There is an intermediate system to ensure that there are certain checks and balances, but very simple, not complicated at all, actually. I will send you those details in terms of what advance has been made. In fact, just 3 days ago, I sort of read that. But I would simply say that we have to imagine, reimagine, and reinvent. Because we can't continue with the advances of technology. But the only thing I would say is that this dialogue of man versus machine has to change with man and machine, not robots, cooperative robots. Finally, the two will have to sort of go together. So there will be certain human intervention that will be always required to keep checks and balances. It can never be 100% sort of digital. We are discovering that. as sort of we move along.
एक सवाल था कि डिजिटल
No, just one second, if you can.
Professor, may
know,
I ask one question?
Why should a country like India today have so many illiterates? Was there a solution that we can get digitally? We got one. You know what was that? It was called computer-based functional literacy. I want to listen to this very carefully, by the way, because some of you might want to take that forward. Who created it? FC Kohli. What was the principle? See, when we learned to write mother, how did we do that? First word alphabet, A, B, C, D, etc. We learned that. Then we mucked up the spelling. M-O-T-H-R, mother, M-O-T-H-R, mother, M-O-T-H-R, mother. And that is how we could recognize mother or write mother. Kohli found out that if you can recognize 596 words as pictures, you can read a newspaper. It was called computer-based functional literacy. It was tried in Medak first, by the way. Chandrababu Naidu gave him full Medak and he made it completely functionally literate. Most illiterate women could read sort of newspaper and all that. What is the cost? Because you would say computers are involved. No, knock down PC 286, PC 386. Cost zero. And expense per person 100 rupees. You understand? So simple. I remember actually talking about this because people call me a dangerous optimist. I had given a lecture, convocation address on embracing a religion called positivism, and I had showed everything can be solved in India. I remember Dr. I got a call from Kutti Nair, who was the principal secretary to Prime Minister in Dr. Manmohan Singh's time, and he said, Prime Minister wants you to be a member science planning commission. I said, no, I want to be a scientist. So he said, no, if your answer was yes, I would have told him. Answer is no, you have to tell him. And when I went to him, it was an interesting discussion. He asked me, and this was his first term, he said, Mashelkar, I have 5 years. If I had to do one thing, what would it be? I said, sir, make the complete country in 5 years functionally literate. He said, impossible. I said, possible. And I told him. He got a note from me, basically. Who killed it? The literacy mission. Because they were doing it sort of the normal way. You understand? 100 rupees per person and 200 to 50 million illiterates, we would have made them all literate. We came in the way, so as to say. So I think there are technological solutions. It is our, as I said, science and behavioral science. That behavioral science is, I think, what holds us back, actually. And that behavioral science also makes us use the technology in a bad way. I think this is basically it. It's a mind versus mindset issue.
Professor, may I ask a question, Professor?
Sir, we're just answering the
Let me
question.
answer all the questions. I'm sorry. Let's have some discipline. Let us answer all the questions.
Digital transactions have become the order of the day today, but a lot of poor people are being duped by companies. Their money is being taken digitally. So how can we prevent this?
I think there are security measures that are all there. I think they have to be used. They should not be manipulated. And I think we have to have legislations by which the penalties are very harsh. You know, our problem is people get away, as a matter of fact. If you execute the penalties in the way they should be, and digital world also is, by the way, to make it cyber secure. You know, there are principles, guidelines, and actual actions and practices that have been prescribed. Who manipulates them? People. And when people manipulate and somebody suffers, there has to be a penalty, as simple as that. It's a common sense answer. Next one.
Horse trading or buying of MLAs is a problem, concern.
Leave it. I'm a scientist, technologist. I have no idea.
Sir, एक प्रश्न आपका था कि तकनीक दुधारी हो सकती है.
Yeah. No, you are absolutely right. I answered that. I told you about drones, how they can be used for killing as well as for saving. So, हर एक technology की ये बात है ना. Whenever it comes, basically, what we have to do is that, for example, jobs somebody talked about. I have a paper, again I can send it to you if you give the details. It is called Exponential Technology, Industry 4.0 and Jobs, Future of Jobs in India. Because each time, you see, for example, I wanted to give you money, I used to send a check to the bank, then several clerks will check, cross-check, and after 5 days you will get it. Now it is your mobile and my mobile. As simple as that. So benefit to aa gaya na iska. But the basic issue is that along with these benefits, unless you exhibit certain amount of precautionary sort of major things do not happen. दो चीजें होती हैं, एक तो कंप्लीट प्रिवेंटिव, नहीं चाहिए हमें. दूसरा है कंप्लीट प्रमोशनल, क्लोज योर आईज एंड नो, इट इज प्रमोशनल एंड प्रिकॉशनरी. दैट इज बेसिकली. अदरवाइज हम तो कहीं के कहीं रहेंगे, यू नो. दैट सो इट इज, एज आई सेड, साइंस एंड बिहेवियरल साइंस इशू.
एक लास्ट क्वेश्चन था कि हाउ कैन क्वेश्चन आर बी स्ट्रेंथन यूजिंग टेक्नोलॉजी?
No idea. I'm absolutely illiterate as far as that is concerned. Sorry, sir, I sort of stopped you.
Thank you for allowing me to ask the last question. Actually, as you said that man made machine and now machine is making man and democracy, which is something I think not acceptable in the world, and that is why the entire world, most of the biggest country in the world are actually going to the ballot paper. And then they are supposed to be the biggest technology producer and user, and they are doing their casting their vote through ballot. So the time has come in India. Can we also, what is your opinion about, can we move back to the ballot paper casting vote? Because we have been seeing the world, they are technology oriented, they are producer and user of technology, but they are doing the vote in the traditional way because there is a science and there is logic behind it. Your view, sir. Thank you.
So the question is about return to the ballot paper, sort of going back from technology to manual usage. Yes.
Yes, I think that you can ask about anything, basically, not necessarily this. I think there are pros and cons of every technology, as you know. EVMs, you know what happened in US, how they were manipulated in the elections that took place, and then the interference from Russians and so on and so forth. So no country is free of that, basically. But who do that? Who does that? It is the man who does it. जैसे कि हम plastics की बात करते हैं ना, और वो pollution, in the sea you find microplastics and so on and so forth, animals are getting killed. My answer to that is that plastic do not have legs. Plastic doesn't walk to the sea. Who makes it walk to the sea? It is the man. So this is a man, as a matter of fact, and therefore it goes to the fundamental. It is about protection of values. No matter what machine you bring, you can manipulate it. No matter if you had paper ballots, there was a booth capture. वो पूरा लेके जाते थे ना, वो भी होता था ना, वो भी हो जाएगा. You want to get back to that? I think the issue is creating technologies which are safe, sound, protected, and curating human beings with the correct ethics. Our challenge today, very frankly, is trust deficit, compassion deficit, and ethics deficit. Usko ठीक करना चाहिए. And that happens from the school. When we look at education, we always talk about Jnana Savardhan, Buddhi Savardhan, Vichar Savardhan, Vyakti Savardhan, Sapata Savardhan. We have to talk about Mulya Savardhan. Our problem is values. Once you have those values, you will not, basically. I will get back to the fundamentals rather than sort of reverting. Thank you.
Sir, so you approve of the digital voting, sir? Sir, here. Sir, do you approve of the online digital voting, sir, in future?
No.
If it is safe, if it is made safe.
I don't approve anything.
I'm not.
No, please. I don't approve anything. I only told you the advances that are being made, I will make them aware, which are not doing online voting, but a modified version where there is an ease of voting. You understand? By using technology.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a scientist. I want precise words of what I've said. I repeated them. Thank you.
बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया. जोरदार तालियों से आदरणीय माशेलकर सर का यहाँ पे हम स्वागत करेंगे. और दो महत्वपूर्ण घोषणाएं मैं यहाँ पे करना चाहता हूँ कि इस सत्र के बाद राहुल कराट सर जो एनएलसी के संस्थापक है वो आपके साथ एक प्रत्यक्ष संपर्क यहाँ पे स्थापित करेंगे, आपके साथ वो संवाद करेंगे एनएलसी की भविष्य की संभावनाएं क्या हैं और आपके रोल, आपकी भागीदारी, आपकी सहभागिता को लेकर, और साथ ही साथ आपकी विधानसभाओं में अगर आपने कोई ऐसा काम किया जिसका उल्लेख आप यहाँ पे करना चाहेंगे सक्सेस स्टोरी के रूप में, तो उसका भी हम यहाँ पे चर्चा करेंगे। एक छोटे से ब्रेक, चाय का एक हम यहाँ पे टी ब्रेक रख रहे हैं और फिर से हम 15 मिनट में वापस आके यहाँ पर मिलेंगे। आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। थैंक यू।
Thank you very much.